All right, so these are the questions that we are going to try in today's video. If you have tried it already from the thumbnail, good enough. If you haven't, you can pause the video at this point and try it once before you look into the solutions. We recommend you doing that. But if you just want to enjoy the solution, that's also good enough. And go ahead and watch the solutions now. This is a really nice problem. There is a chance that you take a guess and assume the triangle to be 6, 8, 10, which will be correct in this case. But since there's an option like cannot be determined, it is suggested or recommended from my side that you do consider the possibilities. What I mean by that is just focus your attention to the most important information out here. The first statement itself, one side of a right angle triangle is 8 centimeter. Which side is this? So if you consider a right angle triangle, there are a couple of possibilities broadly speaking. If one of these legs is 8 centimeter, since the area of the triangle is given to us, so that will automatically make the other leg as 6, right? And that will give us the hypotenuse as 10. But there is this other possibility in which the hypotenuse could actually be 8. We don't know, right? Until unless you have actually analyzed it. So let's first try to figure out whether the hypotenuse be 8 or not, whether this is possible or not. So in order to understand this, let us first consider a circle. And let me take the diameter of this circle, one of the diameters here. Now, I hope everybody is aware of this concept. So if I do draw a triangle using the diameter as one of the bases, so in that case, this automatically becomes a right angle triangle. Now, consider this. If I connect the center to any point on the circumference, that will be the radius, right? Now, in this case, I've considered the hypotenuse to be 8. So this entire thing is 8, or the diameter of the circle is 8, which gives us the radius as 4, right? So this is also 4. Now, just consider what could be the area of this triangle. So if I think about this height to this base of 8, that is, this height is definitely less than this 4, right? Just consider this diagram here. There is a 90-degree here. So if you consider this small triangle out here, this 4 is the hypotenuse of this triangle, right? So the height of this entire triangle should be, this h should be less than 4, right? Now, the special case or the other case is if I make the height equal to this 4. Now, this is possible actually. So if I have this itself as the height, so if I have this radius itself as the height, so we can have the height as equal to 4, right? So if you consider this, the base being 8, the height could be either 4 or less than 4, right? So the area of this triangle will be either half into 8 into 4, or it will be less than half into 8 into 4, right? So the area of this triangle will be less than or equal to 16, right? So if the hypotenuse of a right angle triangle is 8, the area can never exceed 16. So since the area of the triangle is 24, now we can say for sure that the hypotenuse cannot be 8. So this side of the right angle triangle that is given cannot be the hypotenuse, which leaves the initial thing that I talked about. So it is one of the legs, right? So it has to be one of the legs as 8. And since the area is 24, so this must be 6, half into 6 into 8 will give us 24. Now this is possible, right? So if I have 6 and 8, so the hypotenuse is 10. Either use a Pythagorean triplet or simply root over 6 square plus 8 square. So that is the answer to this problem. Not cannot be determined. It can actually be determined. So that's all my input for this particular question. I hope everything was understood. A pretty straightforward question. So we are looking for whether these 3 points, this 2 comma 3, this 3 comma 1, and this minus 1 comma k are collinear or not. So the idea behind collinearity, I mean, you can actually check this in a lot of different ways. If all the points are lying on the line, then only these 3 points are collinear, right? So there are a lot of ways to check this. The easiest way is to figure out the slope. Now, the way you should remember the slope is change in y for a unit change in x. So for a change in x, something like this is the simplest way to understand the slope. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to evaluate the slope at all. So I'm just going to list out these 3 points out here. So just check this out. So we have 3 comma 1, one of the points, x and y. I'm writing in this order. Then we have 2 and 3. And finally -1, and this is what we require, the value of k, right? So this is unknown to us. Now, just check this out. When the x value is decreasing by 1 from 3 to 2, the y value is increasing by 2, right? So here, the x value has decreased by 3, 2 to -1. So from here to here, the y value, just take a minute to understand, -1 plus 2 minus 3, this should be plus 6, right? So 3 plus 6, this should be 9. So the value of k is 9. This is the simplest way to look at this problem. There are a lot of different ways you can figure this out. You can actually figure out the slope and then make it equal. But just using this idea, this is very, very simple. So that's it for this question. Nothing much more to explain. I hope whoever is watching this video is aware of the triangle inequality, that sum of any two sides of a triangle should be greater than the third side. Now, I've recommended this in our classes. Typically, when you have to apply this idea in any problem, what you should consider is sum of the two shorter sides greater than the longest side. Because if you think logically, longest side plus any other side will definitely be greater than the third side, right? Because the longest side itself will be greater than the third side. So what you need to consider is whether the sum of the two shorter sides is greater than the longest side or not. So always consider this idea. So this is what we are going to use in this problem as well. But coming to the important parts or the information given. So first of all, you have this copper wire of length 30 centimeter, which is bent to form the triangle. So essentially what you have is the perimeter of the triangle has to be 30 centimeter. Also that it is an isosceles triangle, do not forget that, where each of the equal sides is k centimeter. Now, before I go into the cases and all, please understand that an equilateral triangle is also an isosceles triangle. So if you have all the three sides as k, 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 so in this case, it would be 10, 10, 10 because the perimeter is 30. That can also be claimed as an isosceles triangle. So there is no issue with that at all. So first thing, you have been given that the perimeter is 30 and the sides are k, k, and the third side is unknown. So I'm just denoting that with x. Now, please do not consider the k and x to be distinct. It could be equal, as I mentioned a while back. It is possible that it's an equilateral triangle. So what we know is this 2k plus x should be equal to 30, right? Because the perimeter is 30. So we are going to use this definitely going forward, this 2k plus x equal to 30. And let us take the two cases that I was talking about. So there are a couple of cases to consider out here. One case being k is the longest side, and the other case being x is the longest side. So these are the two cases we have to consider in this particular scenario. If I consider the k to be the longest side, now we have definitely k greater than x because a couple of k's are anyhow equal. So the only thing that makes sense out here is k is greater than x, right? We could have k equal to x. So I'll just consider that case here itself. So I'll just take this as k greater than equal to x. So considering this, we know that the sum of the two shorter sides. So what to consider the shorter sides? By the way, k is the longest side. There are a couple of k's out here in terms of the sides. So consider any one of them as the longest side. So the other two sides are k plus x, which is greater than k. But this will always happen, isn't it? X has to be greater than 0 any which way. So all you have to justify is k greater than equal to x. So think about the equality point. So if k is equal to x, we already know this, that both of them have to be equal to 10, right? Because we have this 2k plus x equal to 30. So just substitute either one of them as the other one, and you'll get 3k is equal to 30 or k is equal to 10. So that is the equality point. So if k has to be greater than x, then k has to be greater than 10. So my question is, till what point can we actually go? Now think about this. I cannot take k equal to 15, right? So if I do take k is equal to 15, then this becomes 30, and then x is 0. X is 0 is not possible. You cannot have a side as 0, right? So whatever be, k has to be less than 15, right? So this is all we get from this case. So let me just summarize everything here. So k equal to 10 is possible, greater than 10 is possible, but has to be less than 15. So what we have is k is greater than equal to 10 but less than 15 in this particular case, k being the longest side. Now let me take the other case where x is the longest side. So if I consider x as the longest side, then x is greater than k. Now I already have considered x equal to x equal to k case earlier, so I'm not repeating that. So if you have x greater than k and x is the longest, using this idea, sum of the other two sides is 2k. So 2k has to be greater than x, right? Now, again, here, you already know that x will be 10 when k is equal to x, right? So if x has to be greater than k, then x has to be greater than 10, that is for sure. Or since we are looking, our perspective is k, so let me highlight this in terms of k. So k has to be less than 10, right? But please remember that this 2k has to be greater than x, right? So this is a smart way to actually do this. So you have this 2k plus x, which is equal to 30, right? If I need to have this thing greater than this thing, so 2k greater than x, so this 2k must be greater than 15, right? If both are equal, then both are 15, since you have this 30. So in order to have this section greater, so you need to have that greater than half of 30, right? So that has to be greater than 15, implying that k has to be greater than 7.5. So again, if you think about a combination of this particular range, so we have k greater than 7.5 and less than 10, right? So this is the second scenario. So combining these two ranges, now I hope you can see that the range of k could be anything greater than 7.5 and less than 15. So any number between 7.5 and 15 are acceptable for the value of k in this case. Even 10 is acceptable, in which case it becomes an equilateral triangle. So option D should be the right answer here. So I just wanted to explain this in details. I hope you understood this. This is actually a very fast thing. If you understand it, always check in terms of sum of two shorter side greater than the longest side. That is the easiest way to do, and that is the most logical way to do any which way. You don't have to remember anything. So that's it for this problem. I hope everything was understood. This is a pretty straightforward question. You just need to know these formulas of volume. So we have this cone, just a rough figure out here, where the diameter, so when it says diameter of a cone, it basically implies the base diameter, right? So this circle has a diameter of 32, and the height is this thing, that is 9. The volume of the cone is 1/3 of pi r square h. So you have basically 1/3 of r is 16 out here. This is 32 diameter. So this is 16 square into 9. So I'm just leaving this as it is. So 16 square into 9 pi. So I'm not going to evaluate this as of now. So I'm just going to leave this. So this is the volume of the cone, which we are melting, right? So it is melted and made into identical spheres, each of radius 2 centimeter. Now this is a cone thing. For the sphere, the volume will be 4/3 of pi r cube. So I'm just denoting a different r out here. So the radius is 2 centimeter here. So this is the radius. So this is 8 into 4. So 32 pi by 3. So each of the the spheres that we have will have this much volume, right? Now the question is, how many such spheres can be made? So let us say that is n in number. So 32 pi by 3, n of this will have this much total volume. And since you are melting the cone and making the sphere, so no volume is actually wasted, right? So we can actually take this entire thing, that is 16 square into 9 pi by 3. So the pi goes off, the 3 also goes off, and we have n as, so let me take this 32 on this side. So we have something like this. So 16 square into 9 by 32. Take off one of the 16s and you have a 2 left out, and then you have a 8 here. So 8 into 9, that is 72 different spheres. Pretty straightforward. All you need to know is the volume of a cone and a sphere. So that's it for this problem. I hope everything was understood.
Hopefully, you liked the solutions we provided for these questions. And if you did like it, do not forget to like the video and share, subscribe, and comment. Do subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon. In that case, you'll get notification as soon as we upload a new video. And if you want to check a bouquet of courses that we provide, so we have a huge variant of courses from customizability to full preparation. You can check our website www.mathoratory.com. I'll leave the link in the description below. And have an enjoyable preparation ahead. Welcome to the Math Oratory family and have a good exam ahead.